Good morning, guys. MWUSA Season 3, Episode 144. It is Friday morning, and as you know, Wednesday I had an overnight into Thursday. I was kind of tired by the time I got home, and I really felt it by about 10:30 or 10 last night, and I got to sleep. One thing I noticed is in the predicted markets yesterday, the odds of Biden being the Democratic nominee fell from like 60% to 19%, and Harris shot up to 58%. So the rumors are that by Monday, Biden would be pulling out of the race and releasing his delegates, and by doing that, it creates an open convention. The other way that he could go would be to pull out of the race and assign his delegates to Harris, or instruct them to vote for Harris, in which case she would be the nominee. But anyway, I had already withdrawn from that market, and when I saw that big shift, Biden was down to like 14%. I bought Biden yes at 14, and I bought Harris no at like 40, and then I made money on both of them when they bounced back a little bit, but it's still looking like it's still in that same range. So I don't know what's going to happen in that market. I'm not endorsing one over the other. I'm just saying it created an opportunity to make a little bit of money. Not much, but just a little bit. So far this week, we've had a decent week. A little bit of action in the middle there, a little bit of ups and downs, which were okay. They ended up okay in the long run, and I'm definitely happy about that, but we got to stay working hard here, keep going, and push it one more day, and then we'll have a break tomorrow. So last night I had my meeting here in town, and I got gas on the way home, so I wouldn't have to fill up on my way to the casinos this morning. I'll still have to stop for gas on the way home, but at least I have nothing slowing me down on the way there. Last night at 1:30 a.m. I got alerts that a bunch of stuff was going wrong. As you know, I'm on call this week, and I saw that there was a Microsoft outage, but also at work we had a big outage as well. I did not pick up the phone, and other people worked it out. I didn't hear the phone ring. And actually, in fact, it didn't ring. I got an email, so there's no way I could have gotten up. But it looks like that's all been taken care of. I was left with a lot of alerts because people were messing with the system, trying to get them fixed. But I got all those alerts closed this morning, and I'm on my way. So I'm going to let you go right now. I'm going to start my drive here. Cold morning, 55 degrees. And I'll be back when I have some more information for you. Alright guys, I am back from the first stop, and it was not all I hoped for, but it was okay, I guess. I walk in, I can't find anything, and there is a slot tech working on a machine I want to check, or next to the machine I want to check. So I check all my other stuff, and I conclude that there's nothing here. There's no plays at all. I never put any money in at that point. Finally, I said, I'm just going to sit there. I don't care if she's there or not. I'm just going to sit there and check the machine. I did, and I found a really good play on there. But it was an expensive play. But, we're not going to shy away from that. We're going to do the right thing. So I sit down and put a $100 bill in. Poof, gone. $100 bill in, gone. So this was a play at $7.50 a spin, and it cost me $700 before it hit, and ended up paying me $570. So now I'm a little disappointed, but I'm looking around and I can't find anything else. So finally I said, there's a couple machines that I don't check the top levels of, because there's never a play there. No one ever plays them. In fact, I understand that for casinos to get all the different denominations, they have to pay extra for different denominations. That's why some of the cheaper, smaller places you'll see have less choices as far as bet sizing. But I went back and checked those, and I found one other play and sat down and played that, and I thought, get ready for a wild ride, but it fizzled out right away and didn't pay me anything. And in the end, I had started with $700, and I ended up leaving minus 142. There was just no way. And the only other thing I could have done was blackjack. They only had one playable blackjack table. It was in a pit by itself, and so there was one table with one dealer and one pit boss standing there watching, and there were already two players at the table. Not the kind of situation I want to put myself in. So I decided just to let it go, and I am leaving. I've got a meeting starting in half an hour. I actually slowed down and took a look at a lot of things I normally wouldn't look at because I had extra time. So when this meeting starts, generally it's an hour-long meeting, but it can go a little bit shorter. I think I have things timed now where by the time I get to my next stop, the meeting will be ending. So I'm basically using my drive time for the meeting. So we'll see what happens here. A little disappointing start, but that's all right. We're moving on to another casino, and I'll be back to update you. All right, real quick here, guys. I don't want to make a huge deal out of this, but I missed the 2-year anniversary of the podcast. I think it was 8 days ago, and I was just so wrapped up in everything I was doing, I just didn't even think about it. So I just want to mention it. 2 years. I don't know how many episodes. I probably should have looked at that. Hundreds of episodes for sure, and everything is going great. We're moving in the right direction, and just really proud of what we're accomplishing here as a team, as a community. I've met so many people around the country, and I'm very proud of that. Made a lot of great friends, a lot of decent people. No matter what casinos say about our community, about Advantage players as a whole, it's mostly really good people, kind people, generous people, family people, and I appreciate all of you. I'm wondering what day of the week was that, because maybe I missed it because it was a weekend or something. I don't know. Let me see here. It was July 11th. It was a Thursday, so I was traveling. Oh, I was on one of my overnights, and I was probably so tired I couldn't pay attention. Anyway, just want to thank you guys again for 2 years, and I'll be back after my next stop. All right, guys, I am back. So just left that place and got back to the car, and my team has been discussing what's been going on with Microsoft and CrowdStrike and all these things last night. There was some issues, some files had to be replaced, and I was on call. They texted me at 1:30 in the morning. Of course, I'm not going to see that. And then they sent me a Teams message at 1:30 in the morning. I'm not going to see that. And they called me on Teams, but I had my volume turned down on messaging. So I didn't get it. But it's all like this big deal. Why twice now in the last 2 times, no one on the whole team has replied? Well, it's the middle of the night. People have the ringer turned off, or they're sound sleepers. If you want, I can work at night. I don't mind that. I'll work overnights from now on. That would be awesome. Talk about getting some playtime in. I'll even float that to them. Why don't I just start working nights? So anyway, I did go in there. I played one slot before going to play blackjack, lost $2 on it, and then played one slot after and made $20. So I ended the session ahead 18 on slots. I also played blackjack on a $50 table, spreading from one hand at 50 to one hand at 400, or two hands at 200. And it was going terribly for a long time. And finally, I was getting up. It was a neutral count, but I'm like, I gotta just take a break and I'll come back. and I had a 17 against a 9. The dealer turns over a 2 and then a 5 and busts. I mean, I was already standing up, and I sat back down, and I won every hand for the rest of the shoe except for one. So that was very strange, and the counts were neutral, and the pit boss was standing there the whole time, probably won 17 out of 18, and the pit boss is like, why don't you raise? I'm like, well, I've already won 4 in a row. You got to talk like a ploppy, right? And but the reason I didn't raise is because the count was neutral the whole time, and it was actually getting negative because I'm getting 20s and the dealer's getting 17s and 18s. So anyway, I ended up leaving that blackjack session ahead $550, and again, plus 18 on the slots, and I'm moving on. So gonna catch up on all the team chat and stuff, and then I'm gonna go ahead and go into the next casino. So letting you go right now. I'll be back to update you. Alright guys, I am back. I don't normally do this, but I'm actually in the middle of a session right now, and I had to leave because my phone died. I don't know how it died, because when I got back to the car here and plugged it in, it's at 30%, so I don't know what the deal is. But it looked like it was at 10%, then it looked like it was at 3% like a minute later, and then it died. So I don't know, let me see here, something's going on. All right, so I've been in there for a very long time, over 4 hours, and we can kind of break down what happened here. I've got 72 emails. Okay, so here's what happened. I'm walking to the high limit area to play some blackjack, and I walk by a table, and there is something that could be exploited on that table, which I've talked about before. So I sit down there. There's only a few tables that have this available on it, and I could tell that it was time. So I sat down. I bought in for 500, spreading from, I was going to do 50 to, probably 50 to 250 is what I was doing. And I didn't really get a chance to do it because I hit what I was going for pretty quickly, and I ended up actually walking away from that table ahead $475. So that was all good. No problem there. So then I go to the high limit area, and man, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be working and talking to you. Go to the high limit area, and I sit down. I buy in for one of the purple chips that I got, the $500 chips that I got, and I sit down and lose that after like 2 or 3 minutes, and then from there on, it was like destruction, like nonstop destruction. And so I lost about 2,000 on that table. Then I had a big negative count, so I end up going to another table. I go to the other table, and I losing there. Then I get a big negative count there, so I end up leaving that table. I go back to the first table again. So at the first table, they finally changed out the deck, so I'm good to get back in. So I sit down, I start playing. Now I'm losing again, and losing and losing and losing. And all the big counts were losers. All the little counts were losers. There was nothing good was happening no matter what. So about an hour later, I'm still at this table, and this lady comes to the table, and she sits down. It's like a neutral count when she gets there, so I didn't care one way or another. She sits down and starts playing, and we finish up that shoe. Next shoe comes, and it is like the most negative shoe. I mean, I was minus 23, and I'm like, they're not going to give me another shoe. And I feel bad because I did this to this lady before. This is not the first time this has happened, and she was at my table. And so I say, I'm going to go to the bathroom. So I go to the bathroom, spend a few minutes in there, wash my hands, taking my time, checking my phone, all that kind of stuff. And then I come back and I see she's not playing. I'm like, damn it, she didn't end up playing it at all, which means that I didn't do myself any good by leaving. So I said, all right, I'm just gonna go to do something else, the high limit slots. At that point, I was involved for 7,000, and I had 2,100 in front of me. So I was down like 4,900. So I asked the pit boss. I said, "Can I get a new shoe?" And this guy's a butthole, and he said, "Nope, right away, because I'm not playing rated." So I end up leaving. All the tables are full, and there is a Pai Gow table next to it. So I go sit at the Pai Gow table and talk to the dealer there. When you know people, and I had chips out there. I played one or two hands, just messing around, just trying to look like I'm doing something else. Then eventually they switched out the shoe. Well, when they switched out the shoe, I came back, but now a guy came over from another table. I'm like, dang it. So he comes over from the other table. He was doing bad there, so I'm like, what is this here? I'm missing all this stuff. So, one second, guys. All right, I don't know where I was there, but so I end up going to his table, and I'm like, you mind if I play, or do you want to play alone? He's like, no, I want to play alone. I'm like, okay, great. You want to play alone? That's fine. So I go to the table that he left. Well, it looks like the shoe is almost over, so I decided to sit there. I played one hand, the shoe ended. So then I got a new shoe. So I start playing there. At this point, I am, let me see how that went. Yeah, I was in for 7. Somehow I ended up in for 8,000. I don't know how that went down. I must have been in for 8 before I went to the bathroom. So when I go to this table, I've got 800 in chips left. I had 2,100 in chips left. I went down to 800. That was my low. And then all of a sudden, I got this massive shoe where the counts were like mediocre. They were like a true 1, true 2. So I'm betting a little bit more, but I'm winning like almost every hand. And by the end of that shoe, I've got like $4,000 in front of me. Play a little bit more. The next shoe is good. I've got like 6,000 in front of me. So I'm like, okay, if I can get just a little bit closer, just depending on time, I might leave. I just got to figure out which way I'm going to go with this. So a couple shoes went by, and I ended up coloring up 4,000. So I'm like, okay, now the money in front of me, I just got to turn this into 4,000. I had like 2,100 in front of me. Since that time, the last 2 hours, I had other people come to the table, in and out, and I've made like $100 or $200. Right now, I am down 1,800, but my phone was dead, and with all this stuff going on at work, I didn't know if they needed me or not. Turns out my manager took the rest of the day off because there was that issue last night. He ended up coming into work, and so he took the rest of the day off. So I don't have to worry about that. My battery seems to be okay on my phone, so I'm going to go back in, and I'm going to play some more blackjack and see what happens. I'm going to play some slots as well. Just so many things happened during that time. I remember these ladies coming in separately, and they were both playing on the table, and they were playing the side bets and all this stuff. It was such a pain. But I noticed both of them. I never noticed this about people, but they had like really bright nails, and their nails colored, and like they were grown like halfway out. I'm like, you're playing with thousands or tens of thousands of dollars, and you can't keep your nails up. At least get the ones that you do at home. I got daughters. I know about that stuff. It's possible to do. I played with one guy, came to the table, played one hand, won the side bet, won like $1,000 and left. It's just been a crazy, crazy day. It's been really stable. Like I said, the last couple hours, I went down a couple thousand, then came back up again. But what I did, since right now, like I said, I'm minus 1,800. I did take some of my chips. I cashed out 2,500 in chips, so I need to turn what I have left into 5,500. Hopefully by then, when I go back to the cashier, they won't remember that I was there earlier. There are 2 other cashiers at this place too, so that's not so bad. Yeah, that's really it. I mean, I had a million stories to tell, and I forgot them all. I was getting a lot of ace-5 again today. At one point, 3 hands in a row, and then bad hands, and very few blackjacks. But the last couple hours, the dealers had very few blackjacks as well. So yeah, it's leveled off. Right now, negative counts are losing, positive counts are winning. So that's the best thing you can hope for, right? Because you should be betting less negative. So I've got that going for me at least. I haven't eaten, so that's one bad thing. Right now it's 4 in the afternoon. I should have left here a couple hours ago, but so we'll see what happens. Gonna pack up my work stuff again, go back in there and see if I can make something happen. I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. So, wow, that was a long one, definitely. I'm not positive, but I think the total for that session was approximately 4 hours. And originally, the first table I played was a $50 table. Just played that for a short time. I told you that. And then I actually played a $100 table, spreading from one hand at 100 to 2 hands at 400. And I think in the last segment I explained a little bit about what was going on. And I went back to my car after a while because my phone was dead, and I don't know what happened, but it was still at 30%, but it died. So hopefully that's not a sign of other things coming up on the phone. Anyway, I go back in there. I get in the elevator. The elevator doors are closing. This older couple is coming, so I hold the door open for them. They come in. Then I see a guy running in from the parking lot, or jogging in. And I look, and it's a friend of mine. I'm like, hey, hold on, get in here. And so I hold the door for him, and he comes in. We talk for a minute while we go to the casino. And then he goes his own separate way. I go my way. And I go back to the same area that I was playing in earlier. And I'm talking, I had so many chips today from all different places. And I have this glass container in the car that I put them in. And luckily for me, I cashed out most of the ones I got today. But I go back there, and I've got, how much did I have? I had 8,000 minus 2,500, 55. I had 5,700 in chips, and I needed, is that right? No. 3,700 in chips, and I needed to get to 5,500 to get even. So I go back to the original table that I played that was just killing me originally. And just everything that I was doing was not working out. Every hand was beat by 1, or I'd hit and I'd get a 12, and I'd hit again and I'd get a 22. Everything that I was doing was just a failure, and I was min betting almost the whole time. So there was nothing good going on there. And I went from 3,700 on that table down to 1,500. And I finally got up out of frustration. I finally got up, and I was going to give up and just say, that's it. I'm not ready to keep playing anymore today. I'm just too tired and just not worth it. Although I wasn't too tired physically, I was too tired emotionally from all the drag that it was giving me. So I get up and I look over, and there's a dealer who's really friendly to me, really nice guy, always trying to look out for your best interests, always pulling for you, and wanting you to win and all that. And he's a good conversation as well. So I go over to his table, and he's by himself. So I go over there, I sit down, I've got 1,500. I cash in one of the $500 chips, start playing, blah, 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 up and down. I end up cashing in both $500, or all 3 $500 chips eventually. And at my low point, I was down to $300, and I had to get to 5,500 to be even. So Luckily, I had a couple good hits there, and I got it up to like 1,000, and I hung around 1,000 for what seemed like a couple of shoes at least. And then I started getting a shoe that was slightly positive, like a true 1, true 1.5, true 2, right in that range where you want to be, that sweet spot, that true 2 that you really want to be at. Because let's face it, true 1, it doesn't mean that you're winning anything. True 2 is where you really start having a chance at something. So just because your count is a +5 with 5 decks to go, you're not really in that great a shape. That's like being a +1 with a deck to go. So anyway, I started having that shoe and playing, and raised the bet to 200 to 300 and just cranking along, and things started going a little bit better. And I think I ended that shoe with like 2,200, and then the next shoe was also positive, and I ended that one like around the same range, 22, 2,400. And then the next shoe, like the 5th shoe back, is where I had the good explosion. And I was starting to raise my bets again and doing well, and actually a lot of the time there on that last table, I was just playing one hand. Again, this is a different place than I went to whatever I said yesterday, where the one table was by itself. When the heck was that? Was that yesterday? Where there was one table by itself separated from the other tables? I can't remember. But this was the same type of situation. It was the only one. So there was actually a pit boss who was a really grumpy pit boss. He's the one that earlier told me I couldn't have a new shoe. I asked him for his advice on a hand, not because I needed it, but because I just wanted to make conversation and kind of soften him up. And he just, I don't know. That was his answer. I don't know. I said, what do you do with an ace-7 against an ace? I don't know what you do. Just stay. I don't know. I'm like, man, what a butt, So, anyway, things started going good. I started raising my bets and raising my bets and raising my bets. And I'm winning hands, winning 2, losing 1, winning 3, losing 1. And by the end of the shoe, I had gone from like 22 or 2,400 to 5,900. Now, at this point, the pit is so confused about what I had and what I started with and everything. They didn't realize that I cashed out that 2,500. So to them, I'm down like 2,100 because so many other people came in and were playing out of their pockets. And when I colored up and cashed out, that grumpy pit boss guy said, "Good job, you got most of it back." I'm like, okay, yeah, sounds good to me. So after 4 hours spreading from one hand at 100 to my max was probably 2 hands at 500, 2 hands at 400 probably. The low for the session was for the overall session was minus 7,600. The high for the session was plus 400, and I left plus 400. Now here's my issue. I was supposed to be home an hour ago, and I'm about 3.5 hours away from home right now, and we're doing 0 miles an hour currently. I'm just barely doing 10 miles an hour now on the highway, so it's going to be a long one getting home, but it felt good to get that money back. I cashed out some at the high limit cashier before I went to the car, and then I went to the low limit cashier after I was done playing, then to the poker room, and then back to the high limit cashier again, which was like 2 hours after I had before. And I went to the same person, and she didn't say anything. So this time I only had like 1,500 in chips. So after that one, and as soon as that was over, I called my friend to see how he's doing, because he'd had sun poisoning or something yesterday and it wasn't feeling too good. So he was walking around there, and he said that he went and got himself something to eat using comps, but he's like, man, there's a line for the place I really want to go, but I'd rather eat there. Do you see a line there? Because there was one earlier, and the reason there was a line is it had just opened, so everybody was trying to get in there. So I look over and I'm like, no, there's nobody in line. So he said, do you want to go there and eat? And I said, that would be awesome for my breakfast. Let's go. And we went over there, and it was like a little buffet, tiny buffet, but it was delicious. So let's do that segment right now. What did you eat today, MW? I had this nice steak, which is cut in small pieces because their knives are dull and they do not want sharp knives there. Very interesting. Because I had asked, I said, didn't this knife look a little dull? And she said, all our knives are dull on purpose. I'm like, I see, because everybody's losing. I see. So I had that and carrots, and also had some chicken parmesan type stuff. And then they had some desserts, like these little, like, cake pop type thing, but these were like brownies and cakes and stuff like that. So I had a couple small ones of those, and the water. And I noticed, and I mentioned this to my friend, that every casino I go to, if you're playing in the high limit, they'll give you Fiji water or the bigger regular water for free. At this casino, you have to get Fiji water comped. Who cares? It's water. I can't believe there's people playing on 100 or 200 or more minimum bet table, and they want a water, and they have to give the pit boss their card, so they take it off their card. Are you serious? You can't just give them a water? Oh, it's just terrible customer service. It really is terrible. Anyway, I did end up playing one slot, actually, and ended up leaving ahead 248, which reminds me of yesterday, where I had that long session where I made $100 and then I made whatever 400 or whatever playing a slot, which is just crazy, but it happens. So overall, I don't know. Is it a good day? What did I make? 1400 so far. I still have at least one more place to go on my way home. I don't know. Overall, it's part of the game. I know it is, but anyway, let's see what's the temperature here. 81 degrees. Do you want to do the other part here? What did you tip today, MW? I actually thought it would be a good idea to tip an even number today, so I tipped $0. So $0 in tips today. Did not get any jackpots or anything like that, so didn't have to tip anyone there. Oh, I apologize. I did tip. When we had the buffet, I did tip $5 to the bartender because she got us some nice Fiji waters. That's what reminded me that the Fiji water wasn't free. So I gave her $5 for that and cleaning up after us and stuff. So I tipped $5. So right now, I'm just going to sit here in traffic and not enjoy it. And we're going to head toward home and see what happens here. I'll be back. Man, good night. That was awful. 1 hour and 10 minutes, I drove 9 miles. Are these people insane? They had 3 of the 4 lanes on the highway blocked off for construction. And this morning, that construction wasn't there. So they're doing Friday night construction right in rush hour. And that's when they pick to do this stuff? I mean, give me a freaking break. That was just awful. And I didn't even have my map up, or I would have known it and gone around it, but I didn't have it up because I drive this area so often that I don't turn my map on for like 10 or 15 miles, because the only thing I use it for is in case there's a speed trap somewhere. So that was just terrible. Glad to get by all of that stuff, but my goodness, man. I keep thinking back to that last table I played, and the way that pit boss was, just the rudest pit boss. And there was also a player there who's the rudest player you've ever seen. Everybody hates him. And then that guy will get a huge, what do you call those things? Not a draft, man. Marker. He'll get a huge marker for 10,000 or something like that. And then he'll play 1,000 a hand. If he wins one hand, he'll leave. But I guess he was down about 30,000 at one point today. Ended up getting it back and leaving. So good for him, I guess. So there was that guy, and then I don't know. I lost my train of thought. Oh, the bonus side bet that I hit on my way in. On my way out, it was right there too. And I'm telling the dealer to hurry up because it's just about to hit, and he doesn't get me in time. By the time he gives me my chips, it just hit. So I said, just give me my $500 chip back. I don't want your chips anymore. so I didn't end up playing that table anymore. I mean, I'd been there forever, so I wasn't trying to do it for the action. I was trying to do it for the EV, and it was definitely huge EV. I feel bad. I should have finished up at the buffet about 5 minutes early, and I would have been able to take advantage of it, but what are you going to do? All right. Right now, we're continuing on. Let's see. Yeah, we're going to... Uh-oh. There are multiple speed traps ahead. I've never heard that before. There are speed traps ahead. So, we're not going to play blackjack. We're just going to play some slots. I have some free food, like not much, $5 or $10. We'll grab a drink, and we'll continue on our trip. So, I'll be back. All right, guys, I am back. A couple things. I want to tell you about this casino and what just happened in there, but I also want to tell you that I found some money. I forgot that while I was at the last casino, I was also rat-holing chips, so I had a whole different pocket that I was rat-holing in. Totally forgot about it, cashed out all the other chips, left, was 150 miles away when I finally was counting all my money, and I realized I had $900 in rat-holed chips. So, I was playing a $100 table. There were black chips, and I just forgot about them. So we actually ended up ahead $1,300 on that table, and I'm very happy about that. I do want to say I've had a little bit of time to think about it. That was actually a very fun session, although I was down the whole session until the last, now that I know I had that 900, the last 15 minutes or 10 minutes I was ahead. But other than that, over 4 hours of being down. But I was working hard. I was playing it the way I'm supposed to play it. I'm betting the way I'm supposed to bet it. I'm keeping my cool. I'm doing everything I'm supposed to do. I'm getting out of the shoe, completely walking away. If the count was too low, I did everything that I was supposed to do. I did it right. And it was successful. And I can honestly say that normally I would grade myself a B or a B plus in most of my sessions. I would at least give myself an A minus or an A in this session. So, and what I mean by a B or a B plus is not that I'm doing something wrong, but having the right frame of mind, having the right expectations, being patient, not getting frustrated, doing everything right, keeping cool, and actually enjoyed myself that session. And I'm glad that I ended up with that dealer at the end, because he's a good guy to talk to. So that's all good. So about this last casino I just left, I walked in, it completely packed door to door, which, I totally understand. I left town over there at 6 o'clock, 6-ish, and now it's 9 o'clock, and I am still 2 hours plus away from home, just because the traffic was so bad. But it was a Friday night, and it was late at night, or it was 9 o'clock. So there's a lot of people in there. I didn't get to play a lot of machines. I played 2 machines. 3 machines. First one was 1 spin at $4, which I lost. The second one, I was ahead like $45. So overall, I was ahead 41 by the time I did that. And one other machine, which took some time to hit, but it finally did. And overall, I ended up leaving ahead $165. I saw a lot of my friends who are advantage players, and all nice guys that I saw in there. Everything was good. You might notice that the road is very loud. It's only because the construction zone, they got the road kind of scraped up right now, so nothing wrong with my tires or anything. All the tires are new. But yeah, that's going to be really it. I'm going to relax on my way home, enjoy myself. While I was in that casino, I was listening to some podcasts, and it's good to be in touch with the things that you love and enjoy. And I hope this goes on for a long time. One other thing I wanted to throw in there. Elliot Jacobson has a video. I haven't even watched it or read the page yet about beating free bet blackjack. I'm going to look into that, and if it's something that's not going to require 30 hours of work, I may do that because there's one casino that most of their tables are free bet, and you'll find one or maybe two regular blackjack with bad rules. So I may be able to do this and may be able to add something to what I know. If so, I can expect two or three sessions a week of that. If I'm only making $200 or $300 a session, that's what, 600 to 900 a week. Let's say 600 a week. Let's say 500 a week. That's $26,000 a year. If I can add another $26,000 a year by just learning something simple like that, I'm going to do it. So I'm going to examine that this weekend. I texted my wife and I said, hey, you've had a tough week, a long week. Why don't we do something? Just you and I. Let's leave the kids with somebody overnight or something, and let's go do something maybe Saturday. And then look forward to me probably having a trip on Sunday afternoon, evening into Monday morning, and I'll probably post that early Monday morning when I'm on my drive home. So, all right, guys, I'm going to let you go. Do a great job out there, make some money, enjoy yourself. And if you have any questions or comments, my email is mwusa21@gmail.com, mwusa21@gmail.com. See you next time.